Well, at the OECD, we think water reuse can be a very reliable source of water, in particular when water is scarce. And I think the conference is very welcome and also very timely because I noticed that on the agenda you discuss not only technology but also regulation, which I think is an essential driver, and also financing. So I think it moves away from the typical focus on technology, and that's very welcome. Well, there are a few. I think a couple I would like to highlight is the fact that very few countries actually, or communities around the world, actually value water. Very few communities understand the value of water when it is scarce, and that's a major drawback and something that has to be overcome if we want wastewater reuse or reclaimed water to spread more. There are a number of options that can be combined. I don't think there is one silver bullet. One important element is to send a message that water is scarce. Pricing instruments can do that, so putting a price on fresh water is a good instrument to make people realize that water can be scarce and that reclaimed water can be a good opportunity, a good alternative. Regulation is also critical. Also, a point which usually goes unnoticed is the what you call entitlements, water rights. Who has the right to use water when it is scarce? This takes the form of an allocation regime, and that's a very powerful instrument as well to signal people that they may be. I mean, the water is a finite resource, and reclaimed water can be a useful and valuable alternative. Well, the OECD, we don't work on project-specific cases, but we support water policy reforms. So we learn just as much as we communicate on the good practices. So really part of my role is to identify good practices globally and try to see how they could be replicated and upscaled. And we see a number of good practices in OECD countries, but also elsewhere. This morning we heard about Spain, of course, Singapore, which has been which is very advanced from that perspective. I mentioned other countries like Israel, which I think can really be a source of inspiration for water reuse, because in my opinion they have a right combination of different policy instruments: regulation, water quality standards, and also pricing for fresh water and reclaimed water. So I can't say it was really inspired by the OECD, but I hope that the messages that we derive from these good practices can inspire other countries. That's my role.